Hey, gorgeous. We are keeping it short and sweet today. And we're going to prove that the modern black woman is a physical representation of elegance. Yes. Do you like my shirt? Yeah. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the modern black woman and really why I wanted to discuss this. Clearly I'm a black woman, but I don't think that we give ourselves enough credit. I see this with my friends, with my family members, and I feel like if we just knew who we were, if we knew that we are elegance, we would conduct ourselves in a manner that aligns with that. It's about knowing who you are, knowing your worth. And if you are a textual learner, you can go ahead and click the link in the description to just go ahead and read the blog that I wrote for this. I already proved it in this, and the way that I proved it is similar to a proof in geometry. If you were a good student like me, then you loved these. I loved proofs because they just made so much sense. Well, math in general makes so much sense, but proofs really got to the nitty gritty of this means this, so this means this, so this means this. And that's how we're going to prove today that the modern black woman is the physical representation of elegance. So let's get into 4 definitions of elegance. When I was structuring this, I looked up the definition of elegance. I honestly didn't know how I was going to prove this, but God just gave me the message that you need to write something about black women and talk about that. So here are the 4 definitions. A, refined grace or dignified propriety. B, tasteful richness of design or ornamentation. C, dignified gracefulness or restrained beauty of style. A and C are very similar, so when we prove that the black woman is the representation of elegance, we're going to group A and C together, do B and D separate. So D is scientific precision, neatness, and simplicity. If I'm looking down a lot, I'm looking at my notes here because the way that I broke it down was very logical and almost mathematical. So I am going to refer back so that I'm not missing anything. I want to really prove this. Get into your frontal lobe, your prefrontal cortex. So let's start with definition D, which was scientific precision, neatness, and simplicity. If you don't know what I think it's mtDNA or mitochondrial Eve. This is DNA from a woman who is named mitochondrial Eve. Let's just call her Mito for the sake of shortening. So Mito is the woman who we can go furthest back to as our ancestor, like as the furthest ancestor that we can go back to. And her DNA is in most people who are out here in the world today. So most people out here have her mitochondria, her DNA. And this woman, Mito, when she was alive, everybody was African. Okay? Everybody was African. Africans are considered black today. And this means that if she was not the first human or one of the first humans, which she likely was, but if she was not, if there were people before her, they also were African or black, because everyone at this time when she was around was black. So the people before her were black as well. This means that the first people that God created were black people. Black people were the first people that God created, meaning that the human design, right, the scientific precision of humans can be exhibited in the black woman who was one of the first humans. So this shows that people who look like her, or the modern black woman, is also a representation of that scientific precision and neatness and simplicity. So God is the ultimate scientist, right? He created everything. He invented everything, and whatever humans invent, they are using some of the knowledge and wisdom that would come from God, the source where we get everything from. So think about how cool that is. Honestly, I think it's pretty cool that when we think about black women today, it's like God, when he made the first humans, they kind of looked like us. Now, black women come in all different colors now, right? I'm not, you know, I could be mixed with a bunch of things. So whether you're mixed or you're not, if you identify as a modern black woman, then that is, I'm talking to you. All right. That is who I'm talking about. So we have now proved that the modern black woman, who looks like the first black woman, who is one of the first humans that God created, because we proved that already. Now we have just proved that D. Do y'all see why I write? Because I'm working on my communication, but I'm getting better. Okay, so we have proved D, that the modern black woman is the definition of elegance. D, which is scientific precision, neatness, and or simplicity. Right? So if this equals this, then this equals this. You get it? Like if this equals that, and that equals this, then this equals this. All right, let's move on. So we're going to go a little bit more serious to prove this, but let's talk about Sarah Baartman. If you know the story of Sarah Baartman, it is an unfortunate story about a black woman who was exploited for her shape, for the way that her body looked. She was basically put in European freak shows, and she was displayed as like a freak for people to go and look at her because of her large breasts and her large butt. This was fascinating to them. This was something that they called ugly, yet they paid to look at her. They wanted her energy, basically. They paid to look at her, and she was not paid well for this. She did not make that much money from it, and she also was sexually abused because of her circumstances, including her body shape. Now, if we could put this in a lighter context, we could describe her body shape as something that is desired, something that is sexy, right? So if it's people want to do things to her, it's likely because she looks a certain way, she looks pleasing to them, sexy to them, and she is desirable. That shape is desirable. So that curviness, that large butt is something that's desirable. And these are attributes that many women have today, but they are definitely associated most with the modern black woman, right? Black women are known to have more fat and more things like this, more curves, which is desirable. Okay, so this is not exclusive to black women, but like I said, they are associated with this shape, and we can see this through many different things. The rise of BBLs and things like that to get that curvy shape. Also, going to the gym, there's a huge wave now, and honestly for the past several years, of going to the gym to build your glutes, to get your butt popping, right? To get your butt fat and or really muscular so that it looks fatter, which is a shape that many black women have. And so this body shape or body design is aesthetically pleasing, or definition B, displays tasteful richness of design or ornamentation, right? So tasteful richness of design. The design is rich. All right. The design is tasteful. People want to taste. And I know it's a little triggering to use Sarah Bartman as that example, but it's just the most potent example that I could think about. It's just what came to my mind first. It's like black women's bodies are, amazing. What's an example of that? Unfortunately, Sarah Bartman, who was abused because of that. But we have now discussed definitions B and D. First we did D, then we did B. Now let's go into A and C, which talk about grace. So we're going to focus on grace for these. Now, when God created humans in Genesis, he looked at all that he had made and he said it was very good. So we already talked about how the first humans were Africans or black people. So God looked at these people and he said they were very good. Now, because humans were made in the image of God, and God, as he was making humans, those black people that he made, he said, let us make humans in our image. And so one attribute that God has is his grace. God is graceful. So because he made us in his image, it means that we have grace. We display this attribute of grace in some capacity. Okay, but let's go even deeper, right? We're graceful. But let's go even deeper. So, historically, and even today, but historically, black people and black women have faced huge hardships, huge just things, slavery and all types of stuff, hangings, no rights and equality, things like that. Black people have had to fight for that. And even today, there's sneakier ways that black people are being attacked. All right. And if you're black, you get it. And this is something that you don't have to subscribe to. You don't have to feel like you are in a system that is hurting you. And that is why I am making this video, so that you can know who you are, so that you can know how powerful you are. And it doesn't matter how other people want you to feel or how a system was made to make you feel, because of how powerful you are, because you're so powerful. Therefore, that system doesn't even compare unless you let it, unless you give into it, unless you give into the things that they tell you that you are, instead of deciding to live by who and what you actually are. That is when things can go awry. But if you stay knowing who you are, you'll be good. So historically, we know that black people went through some stuff, and especially black women. Now, what this did was cultivate patience in us, right? It cultivated patience in us because it cultivated patience in our ancestors. They had to wait to receive certain things. Now, we know through epigenetics that trauma can be passed down through DNA to offspring. So patience is a virtue. It is also an emotion and a skill. Now, patience is an emotion, right? Trauma is an emotional response. So if someone experienced hardship, which cultivated patience, but also induced a trauma response, that can be passed down to their children through their DNA. So we basically, black women, with everything that black women in the past and our ancestors have faced have this patience in us. Okay, so that is part of definition C, I believe, or definition A actually. It's definition A where it says refined grace. So discussing this patience aspect is correlating to being refined. When you refine something, you're basically sculpting it into something better. That is what patience does for us. So we have the refined part. Let's get to the grace part. Grace also means moving in a way that is pleasing, right? So we have this aspect of patience that has been built up through our DNA, but now we are moving in a way that is pleasing currently as a modern Black woman, because we have taken all that hardship and we are taking advantage of every opportunity that we get. Look at the statistics. Black women are going stupid right now, but not stupid. Like, we're going very smart. We're doing smart things, and we are just thriving. We're using everything, that every opportunity. There's a statistic that says that African American women-owned businesses continue to grow despite significant financial and social obstacles. Starting a business gives you freedom, and we discussed that in a video. If you want to go watch that video, it is about being an artistic entrepreneur. That talks about freedom. It talks about the secret sauce to being an entrepreneur. I will link that for y'all in the description. But Black women are starting businesses despite everything, right? It doesn't matter. That shows that we are moving in a pleasing way, moving in a way that is pleasing, because come on, that's pleasing. It's just pleasing. We are refined. And so that is the refined grace part. We have the patience in us already, but we actually don't have to wait like our ancestors. So think about it like this. If there are levels, there's levels, and our ancestors were on this level and they climbed and climbed up. Say they were on level 1, they climbed and climbed up to level 3. Then they had another one of your ancestors, but that another one of your ancestors that's on level 3 doesn't have to start from level 1, but they have, through DNA, everything that came with that, but they can go up even faster. Then they have this. Then they might have your mom. Now your mom has all this, but your mom's already on like level 10. So when she has you, because she went from level 10 to level 20, you are on level 20. And you have everything from level 20, from level 1 through 20, because that DNA has been passed down. So we have that patience. We've cultivated that patience. We are refined through everything that our ancestors have gone through. So, and we are using that in a way that is pleasing. We are moving in a pleasing way. So that is refined grace, which is definition A. And dignified gracefulness, very similar. So because Black women have, someone's playing music, it was just distracting me real quick. Because Black women exemplify each definition that I have discussed, A, B, C, and D, we exemplify that, meaning that we are an example of that. It shows that Black woman, the modern Black woman, is a physical representation of elegance. All the definitions of elegance that are there, I proved that the Black woman is an example of that. So go ahead and take a look in the mirror and see who you are. Know that you can do anything. All right? And stay golden.